Sometimes people don't misunderstand you because you are wrong. They misunderstand you because your presence changes the balance of something they are used to controlling. When someone they love grows close to you, when they start opening up in ways they never did before, when their priorities slowly begin to shift, it can stir emotions that have nothing to do with truth and everything to do with fear. Closeness is powerful. It can be beautiful, healing, life changing, but it can also expose cracks in other relationships. It can reveal insecurities that were quietly sleeping. And when insecurity wakes up, it doesn't introduce itself politely. It disguises itself as concern. It speaks in protective tones. It pretends to be wisdom, but underneath, it is often jealousy struggling to keep its position. So if you're here right now, reading this with that heavy feeling in your chest, I need you to listen carefully because something shifted last night. Something happened around your name that forced a truth into the open. A third party truth that your person has been unconsciously ignoring for a long time. And when it surfaced, it changed the energy of everything. Last night, your person went out. Nothing dramatic. No secret plan. No intention of confrontation. Just a few drinks with friends. A little noise to escape their thoughts. A moment to breathe. The kind of night where people laugh louder than usual because alcohol makes them braver than their honesty ever could. At first, it was harmless. Stories were shared. Jokes were thrown across the table. Someone exaggerated a memory. Someone else interrupted with a louder version. It was chaotic in that normal, friendly way. But then, almost casually, your name slipped into the conversation. It wasn't introduced gently. It wasn't mentioned with respect. It entered the room like a spark near dry grass. One friend leaned back in their chair and said, "You know what the problem is? They're a thorn in your side." The word thorn didn't land softly. It cut. They continued. They said you poke at insecurities, that you always challenge your person, that you make them feel like they're not doing enough, not fixing enough, not growing fast enough. They said you're trouble, not loud trouble, not chaotic trouble, but the kind that sits quietly and makes someone question themselves. And the way they said it mattered. There was confidence in their tone, a strange pride, as if they had been waiting for the perfect moment to finally say what they believed was the truth. Your person didn't explode. They didn't shout. What they did was quieter and far more powerful. They went silent. The table kept moving for a few seconds, but the energy shifted. That kind of silence is loud. It's the silence where a jaw tightens, where a hand grips a glass a little too firmly, where something deep inside starts defending without words. Because when that friend called you a thorn, it didn't just insult you. It touched a wound your person carries privately, a wound of feeling inadequate, a wound of fearing they disappoint the people they care about, a wound that whispers, "What if I'm not enough?" So when the friend said, "They make you feel small," it hit dangerously close to your person's hidden fears. But here's what the friend didn't understand. There's a difference between making someone feel small and holding them accountable to their potential. There's a difference between criticism and reflection. And you, dear soul, have been a mirror. And mirrors are uncomfortable for people who have spent years avoiding their own reflection. Your person finally spoke. Don't talk about them like that. It wasn't shouted. It was steady, controlled, serious. The laughter faded. Even the friends who weren't fully listening turned their heads because the tone had changed. The air felt heavier. The friend tried to brush it off with a laugh. "Relax. I'm just saying it because I care about you." But your person leaned forward slightly and said, "No, you're saying it because you're bothered." That sentence landed harder than the insult before it. The friend rolled their eyes. "I'm protecting you." And that's when something shifted inside your person. Because suddenly, the narrative became clear. This wasn't about your character. It wasn't about your behavior. It wasn't even about trust. It was about influence. Your person said, "You're not protecting me. You're trying to control the narrative." The table went quiet again. Because the truth, once spoken, doesn't need to be loud. In that moment, your person realized something important. The thorn label wasn't about harm. It was about impact. You matter. Your opinion matters. Your presence changes them. You challenge their patterns. You notice when they fall back into old habits. You call out the fake smile. You see through the deflection. And insecure people don't like mirrors. Mirrors expose what someone is trying to ignore. To the wrong person, growth feels like pressure. Healing feels like threat. Accountability feels like attack. Your person stood up for a moment and stepped outside for air. Not because they were ashamed, not because they doubted you, but because they needed space to process what had just been revealed. Outside, under the dim lights, they admitted something to themselves. You don't hurt them, you challenge them. And sometimes the challenge feels uncomfortable. But discomfort isn't danger, it's growth. They came back to the table calmer. "Let me explain something," they said. And what followed surprised everyone. They defended you, not with blind loyalty, not with fantasy, but with grounded honesty. "They're not a troublemaker," your person said. "They're a reminder that I can do better, that I should do better, that I'm capable of more." Another friend muttered, "Exactly. That's pressure." Your person shook their head. "No, it's not pressure. It's being seen. And sometimes being seen feels terrifying when you've spent your life hiding parts of yourself." Then your person admitted something vulnerable. "Sometimes I act like they're the problem," they said quietly. "Not because they are, but because it's easier than admitting I'm scared of how much I care." That sentence changed the entire atmosphere. Because suddenly, the issue wasn't you. It was their fear, their pride, their struggle between comfort and change. The third party finally said it outright. "I just don't trust them." Your person responded calmly. "You don't trust them or you don't trust me?" The pause that followed answered everything. It wasn't about your intentions. It wasn't about your loyalty. It was about the friend losing influence, losing priority, losing that feeling of being the most important voice in the room. Some third parties don't want romance. They want significance. They want to remain the closest advisor, the loudest opinion, the safest option. And when someone like you appears, someone who brings depth instead of distraction, reflection instead of validation, it shakes that position. You weren't a thorn. You were medicine. And medicine stings before it heals. Last night, your person finally saw the pattern. The subtle jokes, the concerned comments, the way your name was always followed by a warning. Seeds were being planted slowly, carefully, designed to make your person question you without ever directly attacking you. But the mask slipped, and once you see manipulation, you can't unsee it. Your person drew a line. "I'm not going to let anyone disrespect someone who's been good to me." It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't public romance. It was private loyalty. And that matters more. Does this mean everything is instantly fixed? No. Growth doesn't happen in one night. Fear doesn't vanish because of one confrontation. But something changed. Awareness entered the room. And awareness is the beginning of boundaries. Your person is waking up. They're starting to understand that the confusion between you wasn't created by your love. It was influenced by voices that felt threatened by it. You challenge them. Yes. You make them reflect. Yes. You expect honesty. Yes. But that is not cruelty. That is maturity. And mature love feels uncomfortable to those who benefit from immaturity. So if you've been feeling blamed, misunderstood, painted as too much, hear this clearly. You are not too much. You are just enough for the heart that is ready. The wrong people will always call your strength intimidation. They will call your boundaries distance. They will call your standards pressure. They will call your truth a thorn. But the right person will call it love. Take a breath right now. Feel the weight lifting just slightly. Repeat this quietly, not from ego, but from peace. I am valued for the love I truly bring. I am not a burden. I am a blessing. I do not need to shrink to make insecure people comfortable. I will not carry labels created by someone else's fear. Last night was not just an argument. It was revelation. It was exposure. It was the moment your person realized that defending you isn't weakness. It's alignment with their own heart. And whether they say it loudly yet or not, they chose you in a room full of voices. That choice matters. So stand tall in your softness. Stay grounded in your intention. Keep loving in the way that encourages growth, not control. Because you were never the thorn in their side. You were the truth at their side. And truth, even when uncomfortable, is always powerful.